Well, well,
I
that
just
is true.
fired something up a little earlier today, and that wasn't good.
Oh, you had to put it out.
Oh,
A couple moment of silence.
Magic smoke.
Well, it was kind of interesting. It was a 213 ohm, very, very small, narrow, wire wound 5-watt resistor
Mm.
that something had bumped and kind of like broken it, but not the wire. It still had continuity and still had the proper value of resistance. But it seems like where it was broken, it kind of lost its ability to be a heat sink all the way through like that. And so it started to get hot at the part that the heat sink was broken. So I shut it off and then I just kind of wiggled it and repositioned it so it had better contact completely through the wire wound resistor and turned it on again, and it didn't smoke anymore after that. So
maybe that's
clearly
the problem for me,
temporary fix.
because I have one where that happened and I just put the thing aside. Now I'm gonna go and start wiggling it.
Yeah, just get it lined up again so that the heat transfer takes place.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta make sure that's what was the word I was gonna use? If you gave it permission to wiggle it before you fired it up, consensual, I guess is the word.
Ah.
You have to ask permission first, no means no. Don't you dare put a current to me.
And you might be slapped with a shock,
Yes.
Yes. But
anybody have any 213 ohm 5-watt resistors handy?
Oh, I got a bucket full in the basement. How many you want?
2 in case I do something wrong on the first try.
I'm just wondering why it's just such a really odd number. You think it would be like maybe either 220 or 200, but
it's in series. Here, wait a second. Let me do this. I know we're not doing
let's do a little quick show and tell. Let's see.
Yeah, we're not doing show and tell yet, but
it's a pre-show
and
tell.
this can be seen.
Oh, schematic.
Oh wait,
time.
I can do it. I can do it better on this.
All right.
There we go. Actual schematic. So that resistor that is in between the 50L6 and the 35Z5 is a 213 ohm 5-watt resistor.
Am I assuming this might be a phonograph because you have that big? Okay, I see.
It's that phonograph. Yeah, everybody's seen one of these. It's one of these General Electric toy phonographs.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Let's have a closer look.
So it's a ballast resistor for the filament, right?
Yes. So a buddy of mine brought it over and said, "Hey, I picked this up. Can you do anything with it for me? Can you like test the tubes?" And it's like, it probably needs more than the tubes. So I changed a couple of the electrolytics and wiggled the ballast resistor so that it would stop smoking, and everything seems to be fine now, except for the fact that it doesn't have a cartridge. And there doesn't appear to even be a way to mount one. It's just like 2 wires and then a hole in the end here. So it must be some very crude kind of, it only plays 78s, but it had no speaker inside of it. Someone had taken the little 4-inch speaker out. So I took this old 8-incher that I parted out from an old Stromberg Carlson and hooked that up. So I was able to verify that my repairs worked because I could just touch the wire and get the hum out of the speaker. But I have no idea what the actual. It's pretty cool. My sister's on her way here from Connecticut, so she's going to be here Friday or Saturday, and she works for General Electric, and she lives right near Bridgeport, Connecticut. And some of the documentation that I found on the General Electric toys, and somewhere on one of these schematics or something I looked up, it said General Electric, Bridgeport, Connecticut. So she might get a kick out of that.
I wouldn't be against putting a 220 ohm 5-watt stone resistor in there. I
Right.
think I would probably get you through that problem because typically, you know, our line voltages are higher than they
Yeah.
were back in the day. So I,
Yep.
you know, trying to find a 213 ohm.
No, I
5
was just,
voltage.
it's odd that it actually says 213 on the schematic. I mean, no,
Yeah,
all this,
you'd stand a better chance of getting a date with Christy Brinkley or something
Yeah.
like that. before you
all
find
this,
200
You could
213 ohm
also
5 watt
put
resistor.
put a light bulb, a 25-watt light bulb or a 40-watt light bulb.
right. I mean, all these things are, you know, it's all plus or minus a football field. I mean, you know, it's like,
There is an explanation, however, as to why it's 213 ohms. If you have a 117 volt power, which was the standard, you subtract the 50 and then the 35 for the filaments,
Yep.
you end up with 32 volts. And if you divide that by your 0.15 amp line current, you come out to exactly 213. So that's why they came out with that.
Wow, look at that. Good thing we had Howard here.
I knew that, but I just didn't want to show off.
That's okay. I'm just showing off my useless knowledge here.
Well, we got 11 useless people here discussing these things. This is great.
I know it is. So, all right. So, okay. So, Mr. Smart Guy. So, what's the cartridge? And do you have one you can send me for this? So,
Here's how I would handle that because I started to do record players recently. What I would do is if you know or could get the dimensions and then shoot an email to Voice of Music. And they may be able to match you up with something that might be dimensionally correct that will fit in that little space.
Yep.
And the worst thing that you'll have to do is to figure a way to mount it.
I do miss the I'm not sure if he's truly dearly departed or not, but I think he's gone from the web and potentially out of business. But I used to, when I was playing around with more turntables and old phonographs and I think he was in Louisiana or something. He was great. He always had whatever wacky, crazy thing I needed. Into cartridges and needles and stuff like. I know at one point in time, a number of years ago, probably COVID, he actually had a fire and a lot of his inventory burned up. And then post-COVID, I don't know whether he was a COVID casualty or not, but suddenly he was not answering email inquiries anymore. But he was really good. So.
Yeah, unfortunately, these things happen from time to time, and I can probably talk for the next hour of people that I knew that were wonderful and they had a great deal of knowledge and were so helpful, and I learned a lot. So these things happen.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is, you know, I mean, it's a toy record player that only plays 78s and has like a silly little 4-inch speaker in it. If and when I get a 4-inch speaker to put back in there. So it's like, you know, I can put $35 or $40 worth of parts into it and have a $25 toy record player at the end of the day. You know, it's like, I don't.
Yeah. It's always a challenge.
Yep.
I know I was able to get one of those P51-3s in I've got one very similar to that. It's called a majorette record player. It's the same cabinet and everything. I think they use those for a bunch of different sources. I was able to get one of those P51 cartridges from Voice of Music to fit in there. Worked pretty good.
You're not getting my drink.
Well, I kind of got, so here, let's see, okay, Howard's the super smart guy in here. So your typical LP record that has about 6 songs on one side, how many grooves are there typically on an LP record?
2, 1 on each side.
Correct. It's a sharp groove. You'd be amazed at some of the answers you'll get when you ask that question to people. You know, it's like, there must be a couple of 100 grooves on there. You know,
it would just be fun to watch somebody take their shoes off after they get done counting their fingers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, indeed.
I think we got a new owner this time. Howard is just to become the new owner.
Exactly.
Howard's my hero.
Somebody else take over.
Where's my bed all at?
But well, may as well kick off with the usual preliminary stuff.
She on the bed?
Hold on a second here.
No.
You gotta be kidding.
Wait, hold on a second here, guys.
You have to be shitting me.
Whoa.
I don't even have anything.
That was a great face. The realization. Oh, I'm on.
Well, that certainly will hit the outtake file there.
Sorry.
That's all right, Len. You know, that's all right. No problem. This is open
It actually
mic.
made my evening. That was great.
Let the language fly. Well, anyway, boys and girls, anyone in the background?
Well, you can see that. I can see this one window there.
Right.
You know that man's an engineer because there's this train set they placed.
Oh boy, now what we have to do is let me go through the preliminary. They're gonna have to make you give us a quick look because since we're here. Let me
No. That's not part of tonight's show and tell. That'll be different.
Oh, all right. So you're giving us a trailer. All right. Well,
I'm trying to point the phone on something other than what I'm showing for show and tell because I already I blew a third of it already on the GE toy that I need help with, but that's not even mine. I'm just doing that for a friend.
No problem. No problem at all. Well, at any rate, it is very much near the end of September. And I hope everybody on this call, even if you're remote or is thinking about fall Brookline on September 28th. And
Absolutely.
So be there or be square.
And the weather looks good.
Yay. I know. It's going to be a classic. Go out, do your classic fall stuff. Go to the farmer's market. Get your pumpkin, get your apples or apple pie, but do nothing until you first go to Brookline for our show. Then you can
But
do
don't go too fast because the police are out from 5 o'clock in the morning ready with speed traps. So everybody should be aware of that.
Really?
Careful.
Trying to get the leaf peepers.
Yeah. I usually I try to fly under the radar when I get onto the local roads. I maybe go 10 over or so, because there is sometimes a few places where it's fun on the twisties.
Well, those roads up in Hollis do weird things. It gets up to 45 or 50 and then it gets down to 35 all of a sudden.
Yeah, exactly. And so you got to be on your toes there because nothing would annoy me more than getting a ticket just for, on a local road, going, maybe marginally over. But that's good advice, Tom, as a reminder.
Yeah, it'd be a good idea to put that in the announcement or in the website because I have seen a number of our fellow collectors alongside the road.
Oh no, is that right? Getting rung up?
Yeah, the $10 radio just wound up costing. The $10 radio just cost $75.
Yeah. All you can hope for is you can make your plea about vintage electronics. Hopefully, it's an older officer. maybe you get some sympathy. But
maybe if he's a ham or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Plead your case of hey, I'm deranged.
But any officer that gets up at that hour in the morning is not going to be real happy anyway.
That's probably true. Yeah, it all doesn't look promising. But yeah, no, everything looks good. We have a pretty full house. I think I have to double check, but the last I knew, we have maybe only a handful of tables left inside, and we have a pretty strong crowd of people outside. And I know some of you are going to be out there. I know certainly Howard is. Tom, do you have a table? I think you do, right? You probably have a usual table. Will you have a table at Brookline?
Is that me?
Yeah.
You're asking?
Yeah.
No, I'm going to be outside. Definitely much easier to keep stuff outside and haul it in.
Yeah, and maybe Russ will see you. Are you good? I don't know if you have a table, Russ, but I imagine we'll see you there maybe.
No table for me. Just trying to
refill your basement.
Keep the flow of radios in one direction here coming in.
Gotcha. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, everything's green light. We're in the glide path. So looking forward to seeing everybody. And also there is training. Jim Polizak is going to give a training on radio components, looking at the radio from a system level and troubleshooting and so forth. So Jim always gives a good training. So if you're there and you want to, if nothing else, just sit there and listen in, please do. It'll be right after I guess at high noon. But October, early October, we are packed with things to do here. Packed. The Antique Wireless Association annual conference in Rochester, New York, and that's going to be from the 1st to the 5th. And then we have Nearfest. The date changed, and good thing Bob Harris reminded me or alerted me to the date change, because what I had on the calendar was actually out of date, because it was correct on their website at the time, but they changed the date. So it is on October 4th to 5th. So be sure to pay attention to that. And then the New England Wireless and Steam
And a
Museum.
new location too, John.
Oh, right. Where is the location there, Russ? Did I get that right? Because I have it in Deerfield. Is that not correct?
Hillsborough Fairground, if
Oh,
memory serves correctly. I've got it already in my maps, but that's what I remember offhand.
Thank you for that. I missed the fact that there was a location change. So our website is incorrect. It does still say Deerfield, but the dates are correct. So apologies to anybody listening in or will listen afterwards on the missed change there. But on October 5th, we do have the New England Wireless and Steam Museum Yankee Steam Up and Car Show. That sounds awesome. I unfortunately will not be able to make it, but from 9 to 3. And October 6th, which I think is a Sunday, the Music Expo's Guitar and Vinyl Record Show in Sturbridge, Massachusetts. So if you are looking for string instruments or looking to get some vinyl, there's your place in Sturbridge. And if you're so inclined, you can go to Sturbridge Village while you're there. And that, boys, is everything coming up until our next Zoom meeting in October. So lots to do. And I think there'll be things as people struggling with what to do in October to pick between all the competing events. Otherwise, I don't think I have any other announcements that are notable, because I'll have hit the big one. Does anyone have any announcements, events, or things like that before we do the round robin? If any, just local events we should be aware of that I'm somehow not aware of or didn't put on our website?
Not an event, but don't forget at the Fall Brookline Show, the People's Choice Contest. So if you are going and you want to enter, bring a Tombstone or Cathedral radio to enter into that. I know I'm going to bring something to enter, and hopefully I get $25 anyway to get reimbursed for my table. But it ought to be good. I got to imagine that this is a category that many people have radios that are, I mean, in that either Cathedral or Tombstone, that's almost anybody can enter anything. So that there too.
Yeah, we should have a heavy entry list, I would think, Howard. Yeah, that's a good point. Thanks for the reminder.
Can I enter a photo of one? It's like
nice. Actually, I may be one of those people, Howard, sadly, that I don't have a Tombstone other than my still to be completed, repaired Emerson 38. That is a little Tombstone, mini Tombstone. But sadly, I guess I'll be on the outside looking in. Thank you, Joe. Glad you joined. Joe from Ohio, that is.
This is sort of related, pretty close anyway. Greg has been circulating the link to the ARCI Zoom get together. And I went to the last one. It was just absolutely fascinating. I didn't see anyone else from the club there. But if you're interested in restoration, a real wide gamut of things. One of the things that blew my mind at this session was Greg was talking about techniques for restoration, and he was talking about using Gojo to restore a radio. Never heard of that. Tell us just for a moment, Greg, about that.
Well, that's an old trick to get grime and dirt off of an original wood finish cabinet. You just work that into the wood, and you'll be surprised how much comes off of there after 90 years of dirt and grime. And a lot of those radios, you'll have a really nice finish under there that you can service.
Tar and nicotine.
Tar and nicotine, yeah. Sometimes they're in the kitchen, they're full of cooking grease or something.
I so wanted to attend that, but I managed to squeeze in 3 different car shows and a model train event down
Wow.
here locally. They were all happening at the same time. So I'm looking forward to being able to watch it on the, recordings that the ARCI does provide. But I don't think that one's ready for distribution yet. But when it is, I plan on watching it.
No, you could just do it with your phone in your car. You can join that meeting,
Yeah, I regrettably wanted to join as well.
driving
I'm not a good multitasker.
driving in between your various meets, take a little of ARCI along.
Just watch out
hey,
for the speed traps.
Hey, Greg, just a curiosity question. The Gojo that you're referring to, is that the pumice hand cleaner that you're talking
With
about?
the hand cleaner, but not with the pumice, the
Right,
original
it's-
cream.
yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, they have like a gel
Yeah.
one version. That
Okay,
doesn't have
I
pumice.
was gonna try that on my Zenith 1000Z, you know.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, no, that's, I've heard about that.
Save the pumice for the garage
Yeah.
when you're done working on the
Hey,
antique car.
on this, if I can elaborate on this, last time I was at Kutztown, somebody was selling some kind of restoration miracle stuff in a bottle. I mean, it looked like kind of orange juice mixed with something
Orange
lumpy.
juice.
I don't know what has anybody seen that? And has
That was
any
the
tried-
same guy that had the medical quackery stuff on his table,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
And the mystery
okay.
motor oil.
Does anyone recall seeing that? And do they know what? I mean, it almost looks like something that, like I said, it looks like orange juice with something lumpy in it, with like that you'd have to mix first.
I was there and I didn't see it.
You didn't say, okay, this was spring of last year, so maybe it just wasn't there. And I was just curious if anybody had even tried that stuff, but
Yeah, the
I'll
problem
ask
with
around some
Kutztown
more.
is there's so much of it there. You could easily go on overload.
True.
It's just amazing the amount of stuff that's there. So I won't go there.
I got on overload just looking at that email that somebody sent 1,000 or something photos of everything from Kutztown.
Oh yeah, I'll have to look at those. I have yet to look at them yet.
Fantastic.
There is that stuff, Howard. It's called Howard's Feed and Wax. That's kind of it's got orange peelings in it and honey wax, beeswax. And that works good on cabinets too, but I don't think that's what you're referring to. That must be some other homebrew concoction that somebody had there.
Yeah, that's what I think it was, and I was just curious. But no, thanks for the Gojo. I'll have to try that in an inconspicuous location on a cabinet that needs restoration someday.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for the tip, Greg. I mean, when you said Gojo for a minute, I'm thinking, wait a minute, not the one with pumice. Can't be using that.
No, there's the other one is called Goop. It's the same thing.
Yeah,
It's called Goop. It's the same thing.
Yeah,
Goop.
I have Goop by my slop sink down in the basement.
Yeah,
I love that stuff.
Just don't get that near any
Sorry about that.
of the
Greg,
details.
is the primary purpose to clean, or is it filling in? Purpose to clean, or is it filling in the cracks, or what did
Strictly
Gojo
just to
do?
clean the cabinet, Tom, just to get the grime off. The cabinet, Tom, just to get the grime off all the years I've been sitting in somebody's attic or basement, collecting dust.
There we go.
You ever get that feeling of deja vu all over again, John?
Yeah, sorry, I was just drawing ahead because there'll be the point where I'll need to have the
What am I on a Zoom meeting or am I watching Max Headroom?
yeah, I know.
I didn't know what was going on here.
Yeah, I really gotta kill the doing it. There we go.
So I'd be pretty safe, Greg, trying it on an Enigma machine to get some of the World War II dirt off the thing.
Sure, yeah, it couldn't hurt. I mean, once you get it on, you don't slather it on real thick. Just use it sparingly, and then take a dry paper towel and wipe it off, let it dry, and then take another one and wipe it off again. Make sure you get it good and dry before you do anything with it.
Yeah, and if you ruin $150,000 Enigma, just send Greg the bill. He'll be fine.
Not gonna ruin it.
Yes, indeed.
I
Well,
actually learned that from a friend who restores antique furniture. He does the same thing.
does he? Well, you know what? I've heard that before. I've never actually tried it. I guess I've never had a radio with enough grime to actually. Well, actually, I may have one, but most of my radios haven't had that level of grime. But for sure. There's probably a couple I want to try it on.
One other question for Greg, if you don't mind. Old English, is that just a dirty word, or is it useful sometimes?
No, it's like a scratch filler upper, I guess is a good
Yeah.
way to describe it. And I've had some good luck with it. I know there's a fella on YouTube. He does a bunch of videos. I think his name is Mr. Radio or something like that. He goes by, but he does restoration videos and he swears by that stuff.
So I don't have it within arm's reach because it's back in the main house, but I have it's like a stick. It's kind of a round stick that comes in a can. I think it says Zenith on it or something, and it's like some kind of magic stick that you rub that makes scratches and things go away. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Not specifically, but I think I've seen something similar to that. It must be
I'm
like
getting the idea that
just
this might be a really neat thing for Santa Claus to do this year.
Yeah, there you
You know,
go.
Santa blew up that Atwater Kent pretty bad, but
Yep.
how about
Yep.
refinishing something? How bad can it be, right?
Yeah, this is like some kind of magic stick of wonderfulness. It actually works pretty well, and you just kind of like rub it across the top of whatever doesn't look good, and it camouflages a lot of nicks and scratches.
Mhm. Yeah, that's kind of the same thing that Howard's Restore Finish does too.
Yeah,
Fills
no,
them up.
I've used that. I think the Howard stuff has worked out pretty well. Hey, it's Howard.
Yeah, anything
Yeah.
like Howard is good.
I've actually
That's
seen
right.
Howard's in my local Home Depot. I was in shock when I saw it there.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I gotta-
this magic stick I'm talking about, if you actually ohm it out with one of Tom's ohm meters, it comes out to 213 ohms. It's amazing.
Yes, indeed. Well, what do you say that we want to start our round robin here, boys? Let's see. Who should we fire up first? Hey, how about you, Bob? Tell us about Cuts Down.
Moi?
Moi? Moi?
Yeah.
Again, I'll put Kutztown in 3 words. Too much fun. It's just that good. My wife was with me both days, and just a delight. And met, I met a lot of people that I only get to see twice a year, and from various parts of the world, not just our country. But I met some Aussies. That there's a Canadian contingent I see, and people from probably a third of the 50 states, and it's just so cool to interact with and see how they're doing and hear radio war stories. I won't be too long about it because John, eventually we'll do some kind of a cuts down thing on my video, and I'll explain some of the things going on with that, which is on my channel right now. But 2 more things real quick, and I'll just move along.
No, take your time.
This Kutztown, I had the most, I'll just use the word unique radio experience I had in buying and selling antique radio stuff. And let me explain. Friday, I was busy. I did very, very well on Friday. Just, mostly tubes, some radios, done radios, some parts radios. I tried to bring an eclectic mix of stuff so it gives every level of restorer a chance or an opportunity to get stuff at a reasonable price, or what I think is reasonable. But this gentleman that came out of nowhere, I have no idea who he was. I still don't know his name. I don't know where he's from. He comes up to me, but he must know of my YouTube channel. And I thought that was kind of flattering. He says, "Oh, I've seen you on YouTube. Hey, listen, in the trunk of my car, I have 3 radios. Would you like to buy them? I have no idea what they are. And I'm busy. I'm trying to help people out. Well, I need a 6 GF7. Okay, I'm digging for that. And okay. So I said, do me a favor. Can you bring them out of your car? And there was a table behind mine that I guess either didn't get sold or is abandoned, or for whatever reason, or they couldn't make it. So I said, just bring them over here and just set them on this table. And when I get a chance, I'll take a look at it. So I'm helping like 2 or 3 other people out. I get done with them, and I turn around, and he's standing there, and I'm looking at the table. There's 3 early radios. There's a Radial 18, there's a Greeby Synchrophase, and AK-20.
Wow.
I said, okay, I really don't want to bring any of this stuff home, but okay, how much would you like for this? And he says, listen, I just want to get rid of it. How's $20 sound? Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
Pull 20 out, hand it to him. Thank you very much. He walks away. Now I'm like scratching my head. I really don't. Well, I have an AK-20 that I have apart right now. I'm in the kind of partial going through. So, well, maybe it'd be a good idea to take this other one. If I need parts or whatever, 2 into 1, make one good radio. Okay, I can justify bringing that home. But I really, as much as I would love to have a previous synchrophase, I'm going through it, and I see the chain is missing, and the little some little things. But the radio 18 was all there. All the tubes were there, and the hood was laying next to the 80 inside the box.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay, I got an idea. So I'm thinking about it.
Not to mention,
Some guy comes up.
because those have
Some guy
45s
walks
in them
right up to
too.
me out of Cleveland Sky. Says, "Are these your radios?" I go, "Yes." Says, "What do you want for the Greeby?" I don't know. What would you like to pay for it? He says, "Take $30." Okay.
Of course I will.
So now I'm plus $10 and I have 2 radios. And I'm still thinking, this 80, this radio like team, well, but I have the hood. It's the right hood. It's not the repop hood. It's the real deal RCA logo on it. I said, you know what? I am a member of that club. I said, listen, I said to my wife, do me a favor. I have a high-end cart. Just wheel this up. And they have this buy it now table where people can just arbitrarily come up. I said, listen, go to either so or so or so and say, here's the radio, and tell them, and this is important, that there's a hood laying next to the 80 tube inside. They'll know what it is. And she did. She went up to my friend Dave, and there's a hood in there. They sold that for $30 and made $30 on that. So I ended up, I came home with a free AK-20 that was in relatively decent shape, only missing 1 tube. And I still made $10 on it. That was the weirdest transaction I have ever had. So that was, I figure I'd share that with you.
Yeah.
Now, one other last thing, I just discovered this today. I had a little selfish time and I started going through YouTube. And one of the guys in the New Jersey club sent a thing on our email thing that, hey, watch this video. This is about Radio Row in the 20s and 30s and 40s or whatever, up, and then the events leading chronologically up to the demise of that, and then turning it into the World Trade Center. I watched the video; it was great. Well, who's the YouTube creator on this? And I start poking around, and his channel is called Roaring 20s Radio. If you've never been there, write this down. He's a relatively new creator. He's a little bit over a year old, putting videos up on YouTube. But there's a lot of good stuff on there, and I didn't even have enough time to watch half those videos today. I think he has 61 videos.
Wow!
A lot of if you're into $3 and early stuff, this is a must watch thing. I mean, real bright guys like Tom that understand all this stuff. He's probably seen most of it, but I think it's really cool to have something like YouTube, which is basically mostly young people anyway, and now you've got stuff for us, that we could watch and enjoy. So I give that, I wrote it, I put it on our email reflector. I said, I give this 5 tubes out of 5 tubes. Is get 5 bright 01As there, guys. Watch this channel. You're going to love it.
Nice.
So that's my story, and I'm planning on sticking into it. So please check it out. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Is it Roaring 20s?
The Radio Row is an extraordinary phenomenon. I really look forward to that.
And
I spent my entire childhood there.
Tom, he even had some video. I don't know where he got it. It's real old film, and going down Radio Road, seeing actual people, and here's a horse-drawn cart with crates that radios were in, and they were taking out crates and they're piling them up inside this. It's just so cool.
Yeah, that's cool. I wish I had a better camera than the 8mm that I used to film it in the 50s.
Roaring 20s Radio.
Is it 20 numerical or 20 spelled out?
It's spelled out.
Good to know.
So I just discovered that today. So that's my radio story and my YouTube story, and that's it. And I have a touchdown video if you haven't seen it yet. So
quick
and
question.
thank you if you have.
Quick question for you, Bob, about Kutztown. Did you come home with one of these?
It's funny. They had a raffle radio. It was a 7-tube Walton shutter dial with the iTube because they made them in 2 flavors. One had one and one didn't. And there was even a battery version that didn't have it. And the gentleman that won, I understand, he actually lived in Reading, which is only maybe 10 miles down the road from Kutztown. So they had contacted the person that won, and he had already left the event. And then he said, "All right, hold on to me. I'll be there in 20 minutes." And he came back to pick up the radio. So that was kind of cool.
So that's just amazing, Robert. At the ARCI meeting, I mentioned this wonderful book on World War II radio equipment. It's 282 pages, and I was going to scan it for some of my talks. And somebody, Brian Bellinger, I think it was, wasn't it, Greg? Said, "Hey, it's right on the internet. You don't have to scan it." So he saved me hundreds of hours of cursing and everything. And it's just an amazing book, full of pictures of World War II radios in action, and just the kind of thing that fits the kind of talks I do. So it's amazing what's on there. Thank you for the Roaring 20s. That's going to be another wonderful thing.
I think my favorite radio from that era is there's 2 gentlemen on our New Jersey club that have the handheld walkie-talkies that are crystal controlled on 3885. I can't remember the number, but you probably remember it.
There's one right up there.
Okay, yeah, it's right above your head. And they're good for about a mile on 3885 AM on a good day.
Yeah, but they were purposely detuned by the military because they didn't want the GIs to be able to be listened into by the Germans. So they're wonderful superhead receivers in there, but they detuned them. So you can only get about 100 yards with the thing. Actually, I bought them when I was a kid on Radio Row, $5 with the batteries.
Wow.
Cool.
A lot of those books are available on, it's called worldhistory.com, I think is the site.
Oh, yeah.
I think I've been there.
Manuals and the
I've been there too.
Worldradiohistory.com. The guy that put the whole thing together, his name is David Gleason. He's a wonderful guy. I actually had the opportunity to speak with him. So it's a great, wonderful resource. I found certain things on that site that I was unable to get on either the Antique Radios Forum or Radio Museum. There's just so much there. So yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I remember poking around there. I thought it was, I could spend days there. But so let's see who's next here. How about Tom? What's going on?
Yeah, I don't know whether I did this or not. Did I tell you about the MIT meet and finding a radio jammer at the meet? Anybody
I think so.
that?
I don't think so.
So I went to this wonderful MIT meet, and there sitting on a table was this thing, and it's military and it's weird. So I got excited about it, and I decided I'll sort of fiddle with it a little bit. And lo and behold, it opens up into real total weirdness.
Wow.
So as you can see, it sort of has legs, and then it has an antenna that you pull up. And let me just share a screen and show you a couple of things about it and tell you what it is. It's just
amazing. The only kid on your block with one of those.
Greg, I'm sorry. I think you've already seen this, but this is what you see when you look closely at the panel. And the first thing you notice is this little label down here, which says hand emplaced expendable jammer.
Expendable.
blah 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 blah, like Schlumberger. And you know, what's an expendable
They were
jammer?
expendable. That was a great movie.
It is actually a jammer that jams other radio transmissions, and you can either set it to go off at a preset time and use these knobs on the lower left here, When you use it, you put up the antenna, which is over here on the left, and the 4 little round things that you see on the right are spools of wire. And you take each one of those spools and you unwind it away from the set to produce a metal ground plane to make the antenna much, much more effective and give it a better range. The 2 red terminals that you see on the left are where you can activate this jammer remotely by wire if you don't want to set it off to go off at a particular time. And then you have other controls over there. But I looked into this, and it's really a very, very strange outfit. I've never seen anything like it before, but I did some research on it. There's a wonderful website run by a friend of mine in the Netherlands that specializes in spy radio equipment. And he said, wow, you have one of those? That is an amazing set. He said it was designed to jam cellular telephones that were being used in Iraq to trigger roadside IEDs and make them explode. You're driving along and you turn this thing on and it blocks the cell phone signal that triggers a roadside IED.
That's great.
Who would have thought that you'd find something like this at MIT? Yeah. And the price was very, very definitely right. It was $75. I just was amazed. And I don't know, the guy who sold it to me is always at the NEBEC meet. And if you don't know him, you should meet him. His name is Van, and he has military stuff. And it isn't just military stuff. It's weird military stuff like this. The last meet, I don't know whether you noticed it or not, but he had a U-boat submarine periscope for sale on his table. So I'm sure he'll be there. I'm sure he'll be there at the next meet. And make sure you take a look at his table, because the stuff he has is stuff you're never going to see anywhere else. And he is a super expert on it.
Now that's something you could throw into your truck there, Tom. Your periscope as you're driving along.
Yeah, it's a little more expensive than this. He wants something like $800 for the periscope, and it's almost too big for me to carry.
Maybe the only kid with Yukon with one.
I'm the only person with a jammer on my block, so
yeah.
I've got a first generation Keurig that does a hell of a job jamming signals in the house too.
Yeah, I've heard about those Keurigs. Well, that's where the military had actually developed what Tom has. So they actually bought a bunch of Keurigs and reverse engineered their technology.
Right.
I wonder if that would block the police radar guns at 5 a.m.
Oh, well, Keurig means to plug one in.
Well, no, I mean that.
I've got a Fuzzbuster 2. I don't know.
Oh, that's a vintage one. Wow, that's pretty cool. But
I put it in my old cars when I go to car shows. You know, just
that's a good idea. Well, that Chrysler, both those Chryslers are more than willing.
Yeah, willing and able, and they're really happy being in Texas, where 80 is not a bad thing. You don't get in trouble for doing 80.
You got to stretch the legs of that 413. But well, speaking of which, Noah, since I think Tom, I assume you are done for now.
Oh, okay. All right, I have to have a little performance anxiety here. So some of you may with that. Am I okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Some of you may remember from, I don't know, maybe 2 meetings ago, I was talking about this 8-track player that I was working on, but
oh yeah,
then and being somewhat afflicted with ADD, I went to a friend of mine down here, told me about an estate sale that was going on just a few miles away, and that there were some interesting turntables that were out in the garage. So I got distracted. Now let's see if I can, my performance anxiety here. If I push my little Grundig button that says PU. PU stand, but in my dictionary it stands for pickup, because I kind of worked on this Gerard. It's a very interesting Gerard. It's an RC98. The RC88 is pretty well known, but this is kind of the luxurious version. It has 4 speeds, so it even has the 16 RPM. It has a vernier speed control on it, and it has both manual and automatic operation with this weird little sizing thing that pops on. And it just needed a little cleaning up, and I had to take all the old grease out and put some new grease in, a couple of minor adjustments, and it seems to be working flawlessly. It plays 7, 10, and 12-inch records, and as long as you start with the largest diameter, you could play 12s and then 10s and then 7s all at the same time, because of this little arm that goes over and touches the end of the record. So at the estate sale on Saturday, this unit was $14, and this Voice of Music kind of lower end changer was $8. But if you came back on Sunday and were willing to take a chance, everything was half price. So this actually wound up being $7, and this wound up being $4. So I like Tom, I couldn't pass up a good deal. So I grabbed them. I'll save a little time here, move that a little closer to the end, just so you can see the.
Wow. So this seems to be the
but it's like
a show dedicated to getting good deals.
And that's my little Grundig that has a phono input in the back.
Yeah.
Oh, the other thing is this is a stereo turntable as well. So I had to. So
pretty cool. Wow.
And it senses that there are no more records, and then it shuts off and it does like everything it's supposed to do. The Voice of Music, well, now it's not plugged into this, so I can't actually, play that one. But this one's interesting. It's only 3 speeds. It's, if I move this out of the way, it's 33, 45, and 78. But the interesting thing about this one is it has an N and it has a neutral position, because a lot of these record changers, when they've been sitting for years with the idler wheel pressed up against the inside of the turntable and also up against the motor, the rubber wheel gets a dent in it. So when you try to use it again, it goes thump, 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 thump. But if the unit has been stored in neutral, when you put it in neutral, it takes all the pressure off it, moves the idler puck away from the motor and the platter, so it preserves that, so you don't have that problem. And again, in both of these changers, I have that one, I only plug in one at a time, but they both came up working really well. I've been playing things like 45s and 78s during the refurbishment process because I didn't want to damage any LPs, but they actually play pretty well. And my workbench is, I have this little gadget, and the workbench is far from level. So it's like when I play LPs on it, it does have a tendency to skip a little bit. Maybe either the LP stylus could be a little bit worn, or it's more susceptible to being on a tilt than a 78. But those are my 2 most recent. I think I'm going to do the Gerard one and hook it up like it has a vintage player and play. It's like about a 1962 vintage, which is right around the same vintage as my Macintosh dual mono preamps and power amps. So I think I'm going to add it to that system. Not really sure what I'm going to do with the Voice of Music. That's a mono player, even though it does seem to have a somewhat modern tone arm with a flip over needle for 78 versus LP. So we'll figure out something to do with it. And I already showed you this crazy gadget that I'm fixing for a friend. But so that's my show and tell for tonight.
I seem to remember that back in the day when audio was really the thing that we were all interested in, we all had microscopes and we'd be looking at the condition of the needle. And I wonder if any of you ever got into that. I wonder
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember it very clearly, but I know if you had a sharp looking needle that it's supposed to be a little rounded, could you grind a needle down, or did you just buy a new one, or what?
They were
Anything
so
like that?
cheap. They were relatively cheap, so that you'd be better off, just the stylus. You would get the needle or the stylus. The cartridge was more expensive, but you could continue using the cartridge. It's hard to see on the Gerard, but this little nub that sticks out of the front, there's actually the whole cartridge rotates. The Voice of Music, it's basically just the needle that flips over and the cartridge stays stationary. But this one is actually the whole cartridge rotates in the head shell. Actually, if I put that down for a second, the Gerard actually has a removable head shell, and it has 3 wires for left, right, and common ground. And the cartridge actually totally flips over. You rotate the entire cartridge when you push in and twist. It's kind of spring loaded, so you push it in and then give it a twist, and the other stylus is on the other side. So it was, pretty high tech for its day, with the 4 speeds and a speed vernier control and a sizing setup here for the record changer, and then this detector of the width of the records. It was pretty high tech in its day. So I think it'll go well with the Macintosh stuff that I have in the living room, as long as I can figure out a good way to set it up without disturbing the decor too much, if you know what I mean.
Indeed, indeed.
So that's it.
That's cool.
Nice stuff.
Yeah, and especially because it's like I said, 7 + 4. It's like I have $11 invested in it so far, and they both seem to work. So that's a good thing.
That's a great feature, that neutral, that where you can get.
The neutral, that it really preserves the rubber puck.
That's a great idea.
Again, if you have to get one of those rubber pucks rebuilt, it might not be worth it to, fix an $8 record changer if you got to spend $30 on a new puck to make it not thump, 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 thump while you're trying to listen to it.
I've already taken them in the drill press and took some emery cloth to them.
Yep.
Smooth them out again.
The other thing is, if you buy oil of wintergreen, and you soak them in wintergreen, it softens that rubber. And depending upon, now I got to do this. Hang on. You asked for it, so now you're going to get an education. Howard probably knows this already, but this is the rubber puck in question that, if you leave it in 45, then the puck is up against a wheel, so it can get a dent in it. Same thing if you leave it in 33, you're going to get a dent in it. But if you put it in neutral, it's in between the two, and it's not really hitting either one of them, so it preserves it. But after soaking this one had a little bit of a nub because it was left in the 78 position. So I took it off and I soaked it a bit in wintergreen, and what it allowed me to do was, rather than take it to the sander and try to minimize the amount of the thump, this particular style of puck, this is like a square, it's almost like a hard rubber band that's around a steel rim. But when the wintergreen softened it up, it allowed me to pull this out and pull it off of the steel wheel, like kind of like, prying a rubber tire off of a steel rim. Okay. And then what I did, because I'm internally deranged, I said, well, the dent is only on the outside, but what if the outside became the inside? So I rolled it over. I turned it inside out. So the little dent was now on the inside, and then I put it back on the steel wheel so that the inside that didn't have the dent at all was now on the outside. And it worked. So
nice. And it smells minty fresh.
Exactly. Don't have smell-o-vision here, but yeah, it does.
Nice.
Now I can tell
That's a
you.
good tip.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now you got me going here. So if you notice, this little tiny wheel here or spindle is the motor. So the motor contacts a turret, and then the turret contacts the puck, which then contacts the turntable. My original thought was, well, the thing only cost me $4, and I have a really nice K-part flip over record changer that was designed to play 78s. And it's like, well, I could make it, if I finagle the bagel with this thing, I can make it so I could take this motor out and just switch it over to the tape, because tape is a draw mechanism where there's a bit that goes around this axle shaft that then drives one wheel in the same direction as the motor that then hits the puck. So being internally deranged and not paying attention, I went through the whole process of taking the motor out, moving it over to the K part, reinstalling it, putting the turntable back on, started it up, and watched the turntable rotate backwards.
Oh.
No.
Because one uses a belt that turns the turret at the same direction as the motor before it hits the puck. Whereas this one directly drives the turret, which means it's rotating in the opposite direction of the motor. So you have to have the right motor that rotates in the right direction before you go swapping them around. So I got to do it twice. I got to put it all back to where it was.
Well,
So, lesson learned. It's kind of like if you're going to work on the distributor of your car, pay attention to the rotation of the distributor when you put new wires in.
Now you can play the beat.
Well,
That's why I keep my RN license active for emergencies like this. Intake and triage, pop it off the guy. Thank you. Got to be quiet morning.
that's cool stuff there, Noah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see here. Hey, Pear, what are you up to?
Bet she's got a carburetor.
I think he's eating dinner.
Yeah,
Well,
this is popcorn style entertainment, boys.
when I remember back to when I was 17 years old, a 25-year-old car felt very, very old because it was older than me. All right. So I was convinced to buy my best friend's 25-year-old car. That car, a 28 Packard, is now 96 years old. But last year, I saw a car in somebody's backyard that they were going to quote unquote donate, except they couldn't find the title or anything. So I needed a car to fix up for granddaughters. So I worked hard to manage to get the title, to get a copy for the title, and got the car fixed up. Well, there was one odd thing was that it has a separate belt for the power steering as compared to the alternator and the air conditioner. And the belt was sort of loose. So I looked on YouTube. YouTube is wonderful when it comes to providing solutions for some of these things. And here I found a video of exactly tightening the power steering belt. So yesterday, following the instructions from the YouTube, I got the right front wheel off of the car and everything, but somehow I couldn't get the right combination of sockets and extensions in order to reach a small space, like there's about 2 to 3 inches space between the wall of the car and the bolt that I needed to be able to unloosen, which was the mounting bolt for the power steering pump. I struggled and struggled and struggled. I went and bought a socket, but the socket and my smallest extension were just a little bit too long. So this morning, but I noticed that in my toolbox, I had borrowed a certain, this is 12 millimeter socket. I borrowed a certain 14 millimeter socket from my daughter, and I found that that 14 millimeter socket is just a little bit shorter than the 12 millimeter that I had been able to buy. The first store I went to, O'Reilly didn't have any in stock, so I had to go to Napa. They had this one in stock, which was too long, with its short extension was too long. So today I went over, had to change the oil in her Odyssey anyway, got the socket that's just slightly shorter. And my gosh, the job that went so simply. I get it right on there, loosened it up, and everything was all done. Now here's a car that no way emotionally do I feel like it's an old car, right? Because it's not like when I was 17 and the car was 25. But, you know, a young person like my granddaughters, maybe they sort of feel that way about the car. Anyhow, that's the little story that I had, the success story that I had that occurred today. So that's all I have to
reach vice grips.
Well, you know, it is amazing in this day and age of cars.
Well, if you saw the location of where that bolt was that had to be turned, man, I got a snake and a long ratchet up there within exactly the right length to stick out the side of it to manage to get on there. And then, in fact, I had to put a jack handle pipe onto the onto the ratchet in order to get enough. I need a longer lever now than I used to in my youth.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Able to loosen the bolt.
Well, it probably was ever loosened too.
Tires and wheels are so much heavier than they were 30 years ago. I don't quite understand.
I know, considering the fact that we've gone from steel wheels to alloy too, and yet they still seem heavier. Yeah, no, that's a great story.
Well,
But also,
AARP started selling breaker bars with their seal of approval. I get all this stuff from AARP. How about AARP breaker bar? Like one that's like 3/8 drive and one that's 1/2 inch drive. I'd buy it.
Oh yeah.
Well, I found another thing. I'm not sure if I already mentioned this, but in working on this car, I needed one parking light. So I went online, but what popped up was eBay. So I went to eBay, and what the person had was 2 parking lights and 2 headlights for $75 with free shipping.
Wow.
Nice.
So I learned that when a particular model of car, this being a Toyota Camry, was produced in large numbers, then loads of aftermarket companies would make the parts.
Yep.
And now there are a lot of them left over, and they eventually some of them get into the hands of people who then try to sell them on eBay. So then I happily looked to see if I could get a set of headlights for my 2002 Accord, which is my usual night driving car. And sure enough, again, $75, free shipping. So I've got 2 boxes with those things waiting to use when the time might be useful to use them. So it it seems like lots of different stuff. If the car was made in large quantities, then one has a chance of finding them instead of always relying straight on going to the junkyard website, car-part.com, which I've been tending to do, when I think for some of these cars, I should have just put the identification onto the computer and see what comes up.
Yeah, no, eBay is one of those places where you can, if you look hard, you'll find some, especially for offbeat things, you'll find some good deals out there. It's just the stuff, it's, then you have the pendulum swing of people asking, fantasy values for, your average radio, that's worth, $25. They're trying to get $150 for, like, yeah, sure. Good luck.
Same thing on Craigslist, Craigslist with old radios, it's like, oh, $2,700 for this, radio that's it's AM only, and it only plays 78 and it doesn't work. And, the finish is shot, and they think it's worth thousands because it's old.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I've found, like, I needed a vacuum cleaner part for our Sears Kenmore. I guess there's no problem there. It cracks, you get a crack in the shaft, and I thought, oh shoot, I'm gonna buy a new vacuum cleaner. The thing works great otherwise. We've had it, we had it for, like, probably 10, 12 years. And I'm like, so I actually, jury rigged it with ties. I mean, I got it all wired up and tied, and actually it was working fine, but I said, okay, I need an elegant solution. So I went to eBay, found the exact part for, like, I think it was like $50 or something on eBay. And I said, score, because, I'm in for several $100s or more to go buy a vacuum cleaner when I can spend $50 and get another 5 or 10 years out of this thing. And those are the kind of things in eBay that actually makes, to me, is what adds value to eBay, is finding the off-wall stuff that people don't, are just people that just trying to sell stuff, making a little bit of money, but not trying to make, unrealistic, stupid money. And that's why I find eBay being one of the most valuable sources of, like, and I will occasionally look, if I'm looking on Amazon for something I need, I might sometimes look on eBay and occasionally get a better deal and get it on eBay. If I'm in no rush time-wise, I'll wait the extra few days. But yeah. Good stuff, Pear. Good stuff.
All right.
So Rob, how things up in Prescott?
Not too bad. I do have one radio that I finished. I guess I'll do a share screen.
Sure, you've got share privs.
Okay, and here we go. That's my Radiola 60.
Ooh.
That's how it turned out. It was a bit of work. I taped off, well, after removing all the finish and sanding, I taped off the wood parts and sprayed the black lacquer, and then the opposite, taped the lacquer and sprayed clear lacquer on the wood parts. Let's see.
Wow, that is beautiful.
Where's my little arrows? Where are my little arrows?
Stunning.
Yeah, with the extra speaker, what an elegant looking
Absolutely
setup.
beautiful radio.
Let's see.
And speaker.
Yeah, it's I am missing a knob, and I can't remember if it had both knobs when I first got it, because it was in pretty rough shape. You couldn't turn the tuning at all. It was jammed solid, and the whole thing was pretty rotted up. So that's what it looks like. I don't know if are you still seeing this?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And then I just had to that's our local AM oldies station. It doesn't sound that good because this is in my basement with just a short wire antenna. There's a real strong station. It sounds a lot better.
Okay, we can hear it a little bit in the background. Yeah.
Yep. Hello, Rangoon.
It's really nice. Nice job there, Rob.
Very pretty.
Like the speaker in particular. Very handsome. I like the elegant cabinet design.
Now, I don't think the speaker cloth is anything like the original. It's what I had, you know, and
Do you,
yeah, whatever.
do you have a shot of under the hood? When you,
Do I? Oops, wrong one. Don't do that. Yeah, I probably do. How do I get out of this? There we go.
Yeah, you can unshare and then reshare.
Oh, cut it out. All right. I'd probably have to look around a little bit.
that's all right. I don't want to make extra work. I was just, you know,
I'll
being
tell
a
you
car,
what.
being a car guy, I want to see the hood open. I want to see what's under the
Yeah,
hood.
exactly.
Yeah.
What, a 413? Oh.
You want to see what
Yeah.
you're running.
You just got some like you have one integrated circuit in there with like a Bluetooth chip, or do you really have the real deal under the
Yeah,
hood?
No,
I
it's
don't
the
think
real
that's
deal.
a chip radio.
Yeah,
No.
Yeah.
and some cross rams.
Could be a resto mod.
Yeah, it's cross ramps.
That's
You don't
true.
know. You know, there could be an LS underneath
No, this
there.
is-
It could be a 392 under there too. You know, you never know.
Never
Yeah.
know.
Those cross ramps, so you lift the hood, they're eye candy.
I built a wood frame. So there's the power supply and there's the radio itself. For what it's worth. That's what's underneath the hood.
Rob is the I don't remember seeing these before. Is the tube layout similar to say a 17
Oh, I
or
don't
an
know.
18?
There's basically all number 27 tubes.
Yep.
Okay.
And this is one of their first heterodynes. And there's an 80 rectifier and a 71 audio output.
Okay.
The biggest problem with it was this flat power resistor was just called, well, it was open.
Yep.
So
those always go for some reason. I don't know.
yeah, well, I had a large resistor.
If you wiggle them and get them to make continuity again, then you can
They're good.
I just bypassed it. I just bypassed it with another.
Where have I heard that before?
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah.
Don't let the
That's where
smoke
it's
out.
messed up. Yeah.
You did
And I
a
also-
wonderful job on it, though. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well done.
I would think it
Also-
shouldn't be too difficult to find that missing knob either. You might well, let me ask you a question, Rob. Is the knob that's on there, is that similar to the one that's missing, the volume knob, I guess?
I think they're identical.
You could take a digital photograph of that and then send it to Mike Costi, who's a DVHRC member, and he has a business that he shows up at Kutztown. He's actually the ex-president of DVHRC. He ran the club for a while, many years ago, and his thing is called Gobs of Knobs.
Yep, gobs of knobs.
Gobs of Knobs. Send him a picture of that knob, and he may have one.
He probably has 30.
Yeah.
Well,
this was one of the IF cans. And this was the weirdest problem because when I tried to align it, it didn't follow the RCA alignment at all. Nothing was peaking, nothing was dipping. So when I took the can out, there's this black crud in here. And with gloves on, because I don't know what this stuff is, and rubbing alcohol and Q-tips and whatever else, cleaned all the gunk off of all three of them, and then it aligned perfectly.
Maybe a very early version of silver mica disease or something, right?
I don't know. I think it's like soot, it's something that's pretty weird. This is just I take photos before I pull things apart.
It takes all the fun out of it.
Yeah, it does.
Where the hell was this?
Yeah. That's exactly right.
Take it all apart, put it off to the side, wait a month and a half, and then go back at it. That's a real man's job, right there.
There you go.
There you go. There you
Oh,
go.
this was interesting. The case was made in Leominster.
Wow.
wow.
That's what it looked like when I got it. So pulled everything out of it.
Hey, Rob, did you ever actually change your pictures? Because I'm still seeing.
No,
your
I'm still
finished product.
seeing the finished product here myself.
Are you really?
Yeah,
Well, I can't share screen. That's what I was wondering. Well, let's see. Well, how the heck is this?
Maybe unsure and then put it back
Yeah,
up again.
right, exactly.
Oh.
Being a radio guy, I'm going with theater of the mind as you're describing.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Well, hey, you had to use your imagination when you were listening on the radio to those
Exactly.
radio shows.
What am I
The
doing
shed.
wrong? I don't have much of a zoom anymore.
No, we still see you.
Yeah.
You do? What do you see, my screen?
No, I
Nope.
see you.
Well, we
Right.
see your face.
We see the puzzle look on your face and say, why can't I share?
Not that that's a bad thing,
Well,
but
that's
that
it.
wasn't
I'm
what we
seeing,
were
I'm seeing
expecting.
each of you as you're talking once in a while.
Yeah.
Oh, I was on some kind of minimized. There's share
Ah.
screen.
There you go.
Then let's see if this one works.
You're on
There
the
you
lower
go.
sideband instead of the upper sideband.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Ah, there we go.
You got the cruddy looking box.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
betcha.
Yeah.
And the
And,
cabinet, the speaker. Yeah.
Little
Yeah.
infant casket.
Yeah.
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 Oh, I thought I was showing all these other pictures. Yeah, there it is, Leominster, Mass.
There
Wow.
you
There you
go.
go.
Piano case
case.
company.
All right, as the locals would say, Lominster.
That's right.
Leo Minster.
Minster, Leo Minster.
I remember Leo.
Oh,
That's
yes.
what I wanted to see. Look at that. That's great.
Oh, yeah.
That's before I had 2-pin sockets.
So I'll get back to the. Yeah, my photography here. There's the crud. It was in the IF can. You see that now, or?
Ah,
I always thought they were supposed to look that way. Son of a gun.
Well, look at that. It's everywhere, but not on the coil.
Mhm.
Whatever that is. It's
Must be a different metal.
yeah. But that was the biggest problem with the radio. Plus, getting those cans out of there. You know, you have to lift these tabs. and they're
Deoxy.
pretty beefy.
Yeah.
Brake
That's
cleaner.
beefy looking metal. Yeah. That's not going to go easy.
No, no.
Nice.
Yeah. There's the
Very
resistor messed up.
Yep.
I just
Oh yeah, it's a classic. You know, doesn't matter the make, the model, the year, whether it's a radio, a television, that's almost always no good. You just have to replace that with higher wattage individual resistors.
I had old Zenith TVs, and when my brother was in TV repair, and when one of them wigged out, he just told me to take the power supply board out and resolder all the power resistors. And sure enough, some of them were just, the wire was sticking through, and because it was a heat sinked part, it
Yep.
didn't flow solder very well.
Yep.
So you just resoldered all the connections and everything was wonderful.
woke right up.
Yeah, it's always the power supply, power stuff.
Yep.
Oh, that's my 3D printed part.
Oh yeah, I remember
yeah.
that.
Yeah, well, I did submit an article on the whole thing, so
Awesome.
anyways, all right, that's mine.
Oh, thank you,
Yeah.
Rob.
Great.
That's
Well
great.
done,
Nice
Rob.
job.
Nice
Yeah.
job. Very nice
Yeah.
job.
I think we can give that round of applause.
Hey, I'm learning an awful lot on cabinets,
Very
mostly
nice.
from this guy named Greg Van Beek. He's he,
Who? I don't think I know that guy.
Yeah. What does he
No.
know?
Yeah, what does he know?
Oh, that's
Anyways,
great. That's great.
I'm learning something different. I look at Greg's work and I'm kind of like getting very
Yeah.
happy with the fact that, well, it plays really well, even if it looks like crap. You know, it's like it plays really well. I'll just,
Yeah, no, Greg sets
As
the
long as you don't
standard.
throw the towel over the speaker part of it, you can still hear it play.
oh
Yeah.
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 Oh,
For
it'll
sure.
crank. Yeah, that's for sure.
But so Howard, what's going on? We'll be seeing you, I know, on Saturday.
Well, yeah, you'll be seeing me on Saturday. I don't know if anybody saw my post, but I
Did they?
had recently acquired some repair parts, dial pointers, and some grill cloth that I'm going through right now, that I'm gonna bring up to Brookline. And other than that, I'm gonna have just an assortment of stuff there.
You got
Uh,
any 213 ohm wire wound resistors?
I'm sure I can
Five watt?
find one. I still got to go through this pile of stuff, but anyway, those of you who know me know I'm not going there to make serious profit. If I can get my $15 back, I'm thrilled. But I look forward to seeing everybody there, of course. Besides that, I'll have a few interesting things that I'll show you guys. Well, I can't show them here because I really don't have anything. But I just wanted to share one thing that I attempted to do. Hold on here. Let me see. I'm sure you guys have seen the pictures of the Zenith stratosphere with the kind of the cat that sits in the area.
Oh,
Well,
in the cove inside.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep.
Anyway, I don't have a stratosphere, but I have the poor man's stratosphere, the
16 tuber.
no, this is actually, if you can see it,
It's got a field mouse.
and I tried so hard to get this cat to sit up in there and to get a picture of it, and I was throwing chicken at it, you name it. I couldn't get,
Well, it's gotta be tuna, Howard, tuna.
As a cat owner with your cats, anyway, they have the attention span of a pea.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna, that's not gonna happen, Howard.
Yeah, so it was an epic fail, but it was worth a shot. And
that's a cool cabinet though on that radio.
No, that's very rare because most of the cats aren't looking like that in the other ones. So.
Yeah, that's a Zenith 10S570. It's a 10 tuber, but and the chassis, of course, goes into multiple models, but it's a wonderful radio, and I actually have two of those. They are
Is
nice.
that with the 6v6 push pull?
Yes.
The audio? That really could fill the house. That's a nice set.
Oh, yeah. They're wonderful sounding sets, but anyway, so I look forward to seeing everybody there. And like I said, I have some a bunch of grill cloth, and some of this grill cloth is like not stuff that Michael Katz, who owns a lot of the grill cloth company, he's got a lot of stuff. Some of this is original replacement grill cloth, like from the 60s, that would go either on jukeboxes or something. And I got to iron some of it out, but it's kind of like more the 60s hi-fi looking stuff. But anyway, for those of you who come, I'm going to have some of that there to show you as well.
Cool.
So, some cool parts. And anyway, I look forward to seeing everybody there, and there'll be a couple other things going on, I'm sure.
Cool. Looking forward to it, Howard. Great. Well, thanks. So, hey, Russ, what's going on in your neck of the woods?
Not too much. I have a Ecophone EC1A behind me I'm working on, almost done. And also the new arrival of 3D printers. So I'm just playing with that.
Very good. Very good.
I have a question for Tom, though. Can you give me the year and the month of the magazine you showed us?
This one is November of 42, but there are other issues of it.
All right, thank you. I'll start with that one and poke around.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Great. Well, thanks, Russ.
I think it's on that. I think it's on that World Radio site, if I remember correctly. I don't have it right in front of me.
Yeah, I'll take a look there. Thanks again.
Yep.
Great. Len, nice to see you here tonight. What's going on?
Glad to be here, but I got nothing. I haven't
right.
worked on anything in a while.
That's all right. It's good to see you out here.
Yeah. I wish I could make it this weekend, but I can't.
Oh, that's too bad. Well, hopefully we'll see you at the next one.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Great. Oh, well, thanks. Glad you're here. Joe from Michigan. Oh, well, always got to say something, or he's going to give a high five.
No, well, I apologize. I got wrapped around the idler puck on my previous get together, but when we were talking about the refinishing before, this is it's a Zenith Tibet or Tibetan
that's the
almond
stick.
Okay.
I haven't seen one of them in 10 years.
Wow.
So this is the magic stick that you rub across the top of whatever, and all the scratches and all the dents and all those things disappear. And I mean, look at the width of it, and it's like, it's ancient, and it lasts forever. I think it's a lifetime supply. But it's funny that it is a Zenith brand. I don't know if that's forwards or backwards when you're looking at it, but it's a Tibet almond stick. I doubt seriously whether or not it comes from Tibet, but that's what they call it. And then the directions say, rub end of stick lightly over a white scratch and it's gone, quick as a wink.
Wow, quick as a wink. I
Quick
like
as
the
a wink.
vintage. I love the vintage sayings.
Yeah, I was thinking of buying a few of these and remarketing them, put a label on it that says Greg Van Beek in a can.
Just add water. Poof.
Where it belongs.
Dehydrated Greg.
Boom. All right, sorry, that's it.
Oh no, that's great. That's
I
awesome.
see there's a little time left. Greg, can I just show, or John, can I show a picture real quick?
Of course. Yeah,
I just I forgot I had this, and I was going to save this for a video, but I'll give this to you guys as an exclusive. Someone actually found this cartoon, and I picked up on it. I thought it was really cool. So let me just give you a share on this here. Oh, where was it? Oh, I thought I had it in here. Okay, I had it in the wrong spot. Well, anyway, here, I can show you this anyway. This is a recent picture of my car anyway. I don't know if I've ever shown that to you. That's
love it.
It's a 1967 Buick Sport Wagon. I fell in love with this thing when I saw it 9 years ago. It wasn't this nice. It's a 10-footer. It's got a second paint job on, which I had to buff really crazily to get it to be nice and shiny. And those are actually chrome Chevy rally wheels that came off my 65 El Camino. And the guy that bought my El Camino 10 years ago, he said, "You want your wheels back? You can have them for $200," because he put these big stupid wheels on that beautiful El Camino I worked so hard on. So I said, I'll take them back.
Yeah, but the good news is it's got the Vista Cruiser type roof on it.
Yeah, that's what I like. Yeah, that's
well. Here's the thing. You know, when I saw this car, I said my wife didn't like the El Camino only because it was really snotty motor and a 4-speed. My wife never drove a stick, and I tried to teach her how to drive it, and it was really difficult for her. So I said, well, look, now the car's gone, I got my crazy number for the El Camino. Let's get a station wagon. I shopped for like about 6-7 months, and either the prices were through the roof, or I call someone up and I drive an hour to somebody's house and there's a Chevy wagon in their backyard, and I go to sit down and my feet are hitting the ground the minute I get in the driver's seat. So you know, and then I was 55, 56 years old. I'm like, I'm not gonna, I've put floors in cars twice. I'm not gonna do it a third time with this.
Well, they were utility vehicles. They got used hard, and they got used up. Not that
the plastic, and you'll back me up on this, though. You know, the line is driven hard in the rain, put away wet.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's really not the case for this. This car was originally a Missouri car, and there's some rust on it, but it's minimal. There's one small rust hole in the floor that I kind of did a half patch on the thing. But what turned me on was that visor roof.
Yeah. No, that's really nice.
And here's the thing: for every 10 or 12 Oldsmobile Vista Cruisers got sold, Buick only sold one of these.
Yeah.
So I knew this was kind of a rare piece, and I had to do a lot of engine work. The thing had no manifold vacuum whatsoever, and that ended up being the intake manifold. I pulled that off and I rebuilt the carburetor. It's got a different carburetor on now because I can't get the other one to work right. But it gets a lot of attention when I drive it down. It's only got a little over 60,000 miles.
Nice. That's
so
nice.
That was plenty. That wasn't why I wanted. Let me see if I could do this again on my end here. Maybe I could find a picture that I wanted to show you.
One of the difficulties
I found it.
Oh, you found it.
I just have to get it on here now. There we go. All right, let me see. And boop. Nope. Hold on. Sorry. I'm in a remedial Zoom group, so please be patient with me.
No worries.
There we go. Here it is. If I could just get my Mac. Let me try. Oh, I hit the wrong button. There it is.
Ah, Superman.
Is that a great shot? So he's telling this young guy, hey, listen, if you're going for a swim, bring this with you. You can hear the ball game.
Wow.
So I actually found that. I thought that was kind of a cool picture if you were a comic book person, which I wasn't as a kid, but I thought that was kind of
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I figure I'd share that with you guys. I'm gonna probably put that in the video.
Can I share my wife's car with you guys?
Yeah, sure.
Sure, absolutely, please.
So the question is, as Superman flying around with a radio in his hand?
Yeah, but he's got to have a hell of a long extension cord, or he's got to have a battery set.
Wow, he's got all the superpower. I'm sure he can, he's probably like Uncle Fess. You put the light bulb in his mouth that glows. So he's gotta be able to power that. Yeah, he's got that. It's all built in.
So I don't know. I think I hit a share button, but I'm not sure.
Nothing happened yet.
300.
Let me see. What do I have to do? Let me hit myself. Let me hit share screen and hit that. Do I have to double click?
Oh, it's coming. Ooh, nice.
Oh, you're kidding.
Wow.
You're kidding.
A wagon.
Wow.
1960. So cool. Well, this is why the spare dashboard is the headboard in the bedroom, because it's a spare AC dashboard for 62 Chrysler New Yorker 4-door hardtop front and rear AC, power windows, power seats, 413 dual exhaust station wagon.
Wow, you never see these. You never see those in a hardtop wagon.
Did you paint that pink, or was it pink?
It was rosewood, which was not that pink, but we were actually, and you would understand this, Bob, I don't know if anybody else would, but we dropped it off at the body shop for a paint job. I had done the body work, and then I dropped it off, and I said I wanted it painted in rosewood, which was the original color, and on our way to Lead East in my 61 Chrysler. So we left it at the body shop, and when we came back after Labor Day weekend, the body guy said, well, we couldn't match that color. We couldn't find it. We had to go in the books, and we had to either go like a couple of shades to the left or a couple of shades to the right. And we decided to go a couple of shades to the right. And that's how it turned out, which was closer to Pepto-Bismol than rosewood. But she loved it, and she named the car Rosie, and that was Rosie, the wagon. And she drove that for about 10 years.
Wow,
that's such a cool looking ride.
It's a four-door hardtop wagon, a 413.
Wow, 413.
It was one of those, they talk about the cars that were made on a Monday morning or a Friday afternoon. This was a Wednesday car. I mean, this car was, you just went in and just touched the key, and it just started right up, and the whole glass of water on the air cleaner kind of thing. That, didn't even have any ripples. It was just.
I think is cool about this car too is I just kind of really giving it an eyeball. I noticed that it's a pillarless.
Oh yeah, it's a hardtop. It's 4-door hardtop.
Very.
So it's wide
really
open.
It adds to the look.
Super.
Yep.
Super rare. You never see these. You see them with posts, no less, a hardtop.
Yeah.
Yep.
Didn't the 62 wagons use a 61 Plymouth back end?
Actually, I wasn't going to go into that, but it's your fault now, so I can go ahead. There's technically speaking, there's no such thing as a 1962 Chrysler station wagon.
Yeah.
Because as Greg said, if you looked at it from the back, and I don't know how easy it is for me to switch pictures, so I'm not going to, but the rear quarter panels and the tailgate and all that is basically 61 Plymouth. Mm-hmm. The doghouse, if you will, the 4-door hardtop portion of the vehicle is a 62 Chrysler 4-door hardtop.
Okay.
Right.
And the whole nose is a 61 Chrysler New Yorker because of this chrome that goes on the top. And all, so it's a 61 New Yorker with a 61 Plymouth with a 62 4-door hardtop in the middle. So there really is not a unique 62 Chrysler station wagon. It's really 3 cars cobbled together to make one.
Sort of a little Frankenstein going on there.
Yeah.
Johnny Cash.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, that you never see. That was cool. That's really cool.
Like Virgil Exner pulled up to the bar and started really
Oh,
mixing his
well,
drinks.
he started going a little off the deep end in the early 60s.
No, that was his last year. They fired his ass because of those.
Well, they said, "What did you do?" I like, that's because we are a Demented crew here. I like his weird stuff.
It's the first year of the aluminum 727 torque flight. So, that was a good thing.
Yeah, Chevy did the same thing, and GM they had cast iron power glides till 61, and then 62 they went to aluminum. And boy, I tell you what, I've done both. I would much rather do the aluminum power glide than a cast iron one. They're
exactly
heavy trannies.
So
they should have fired him after he designed that 61 DeSoto front end.
Ooh-wee,
yeah,
that was nasty.
That was a little bit of a, that was definitely on the back of a napkin at 3 a.m. It was like, poof.
I forgot which car company. Maybe you can help me out with this, Noah. But I think one of the competing car companies, I forget which one, used to poke fun at the Chrysler because it's 1957 all over again.
Oh, no, I don't. But in 1957, the Chrysler marketing was suddenly it's 1960, like they were futuristic. They were 3 years ahead of the competition. So then one of the competitors, and I can't remember which one, turned it around on them in 1960 and said, suddenly it's 57 again. Like, what are you doing here?
Yeah, it's true. It's true, but
I just wish I could remember which one, but I forgot who it was.
I can't remember either, but I do remember the story.
It's probably Studebaker.
Yeah, right. Yeah, some Rambler, somebody.
Some crazy, not long anymore.
But, hey, actually, speaking of when we're picking on Greg, let's pick on him directly.
Oh,
yeah, there we go.
It's his
top that.
Greg.
15 minutes of abuse, Greg. Ready?
Yeah, that's all right.
You got any radios with fins? I mean,
let's
I
see.
got something else pretty cool though. I know a lot of you have seen these already, but
I can share my screen on your behalf.
Yeah,
Greg.
please do.
It takes a real, I can't remember now. Somebody used to have this bumper sticker on their car at Led East, and he had a chewed up thing. It was like anybody can restore a radio. It takes a real man to cut one up.
Yeah. I picked up that sorry looking thing at our last meet on the 14th. And
is that an airline?
Airline movie dial, yeah.
Movie dial with iTunes.
But
that's worthy of a Greg restoration, without a doubt.
Oh yeah.
If you look at the grill on it once, it's missing a bar, and there's another bar kind of hanging there.
Yeah, it's just a couple.
Yeah,
it'll rub out. It's just a
couple.
Rub
it looks like one of these knobs. Is one of these knobs
wrong? Pieces of wood.
Well, actually, I picked up. It was missing a knob, and one of our knob vendors there, he found a knob for me, so I just stuck it on when I brought it home.
See now, drum roll, please. Brrr.
Boom.
There we
my
go.
God.
Boom.
Now to make that grill was active insanity because I had to first glue a little piece in there to make the missing fin. And then because it was all so flimsy and fragile and delaminated, I actually took a real thin coat of epoxy and put it on the backside of it so I could get my Dremel in there to form it and the file.
Reinforce it.
Wow.
Yeah, otherwise it would have just broke the whole thing out if I put any pressure on it.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
Well,
great
theoretically,
job.
now it's not going to be abused like it was in the past. So it doesn't need to be super sturdy. No one's going to go punching in that grill face or anything,
But if anybody has ever worked on one of those things, those are really a complicated radio to restore because you basically have to take that whole mechanism off of the top of the chassis to free it up and lubricate it and get the move again. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, I mean that's such a cool dial face. I could probably share my other screen and play the video. It's probably about a minute video on
you gotta have it lit up.
I can do that. But great job, Greg. Great job. I mean, it's
Thank you.
Another
the 1936 model 62-318.
Oh, really nice. Love it.
I had one, and I remember struggling getting the screen to show something that wasn't like a parallelogram.
It's
Focusing
tricky to
it.
get it focused.
Focusing it was a little difficult.
Let's see here. I'm gonna try and.
I got it,
Yeah.
but the bulb had to be just right.
Let me try. Let's see here. I'm gonna try sharing here. There we go. All right, so we're gonna try and right now. I gotta see if I can.
Ooh, all kinds of neat stuff coming up there.
All right, so I'm gonna try and do this for you. All right, guys, this is my iPad. I'm gonna go full screen in a moment here. So I'm gonna play. Like, first, gotta be able to. Oh wait, you know what I forgot to do is if I share, I gotta be able to share the video part. Just bear with me a moment here. Share device audio. Yes, I do. Okay, that's fine. I can do that.
Yeah, this sound part isn't that important because it's just talk.
Yeah, here you go. Yeah,
Remember that guy who was right here in Wisconsin's Midday News talking about being attacked by a bear and his son
So
saving
that's
him?
just a 35 millimeter piece of film rotating on a cylinder like that, projected onto that screen. That's amazing.
Did they have
technology.
different versions for different parts of the country, or?
They did, yeah. This one has the Midwest stations on it.
But take a look at that. That's really interesting, the way that works. Pretty high tech and pretty cutting edge for 1936.
Yeah, for almost 90 years old. That's
optics.
And the fact that the film survived.
Yeah, it's optics is, it's just, it is so cool.
That's why I did it outside the cabinet, because you couldn't really see what's going on with it in the box. So
right, that's great.
I love the old call.
How many of those did they make?
Yeah, I think they made more consoles than table models, because I've seen a lot more consoles floating around.
I've never seen either one.
They're not that. I mean, they're not that common, but they're not exactly so rare that you can't find them. I mean, we've seen a few. You know,
I mean,
I love
surprise down here. What I've noticed in the 2 years now, I'm coming up on 2 years being in Texas.
Well, see, they actually have
there's
all the
there's a lot
stations
of battery sets down here because of all the farms.
All right.
I
Well,
didn't mean to interrupt you. No, they actually had all the stations out there. It said San Francisco and Pittsburgh, and so it did go across the country.
Oh, that's great.
Well, I have one other thing to show you here, and this is something that I'm sure a lot of you have in your toolboxes already, but this is one of the handiest things that I use it when I'm restoring a radio. It's a little gadget here called a continuity tester.
Yep.
Yes.
They're good for working on old cars too.
Yeah, everybody should have one of these, because you can clip it, like, say you're looking for a ground, you clip this end on the chassis and you poke around, and when it lights up like that, there you go. Yeah.
Yep.
No, that's a
I actually have one of them in my garage for the car. I never even thought to keep it in my shop.
Oh, I use them on chassis all the time. There, you can trace out a component, like if you got a resistor that's going to this pin on this tube and this pin on the next tube, you can make sure it's making the contact. Then you can color it in with your highlight marker on the schematic, and there you go.
I suppose if you're trying to find some crappy carbon resistors, that would be a handy tool, like you're saying.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Joe from Michigan. How goes it?
It goes. There's life in Michigan.
Yeah, all is well.
Yeah. Let me flip the screen around. This is my Unikitty.
Let's take a close look. What you got there?
I flip screen. I have not
like an armadillo.
So some sort of transformer thing. It drops it down to, I think, 24 volts, 10 volts, and 14 volts.
Wow.
So it is absolutely weird. I got it a couple days ago. Like, I dropped my kids off to their mom. She lives in the old money neighborhood. So a lot of weird stuff. I have picked up some old radio stuff out of there on the side of the road. So stuff does pop up over there. But yeah, this thing was in a bucket of a bunch of scrap wire somebody was tossing out. And I'm like, this thing is way too weird. Even if it uses a paperweight.
Is it AC or?
Yeah, it goes in 120 and kicks out 3 different voltages.
Okay, so but they're all AC voltages and nothing's rectified.
I don't think so. I think it's weird. It's 24 volts, 14, and 10. It's like none of those like anything common.
No, I guess not. Wow.
Yeah.
14, you can make a battery charger out of it. I don't know.
Yeah. And these things, these coils around it do nothing other than show.
Heat sink.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Almost
It's
looks like
odd.
from the 20s, maybe.
Yeah, I know.
Looks
That's
cool.
really. Oh, just plug it in. No problem.
Yeah, that's one of those things when you're walking through the flea market with your buddy, you say, well, I'll buy it if you plug it in at your house.
Watch the town go woo.
There's definitely a breaker checker.
Yeah. Would you mind holding this while I plug it in?
Yeah, right.
Here, stick your tongue to one of these. Like it doesn't even have a ground.
Yeah.
Remember, it's not the voltage, it's the current. Don't worry.
Right.
Yeah, now that I look at it, there's like no ground. It's all positive out. So
Wow.
A real
definitely
man
odd.
device.
That's cool.
Yeah. But I got one.
Cool.
Well, you could run your doorbell off of it, probably.
Probably could. Yeah.
That was cool. Thanks, Joe. That's fun.
Yeah.
Power the no solicitor doorbell.
Yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
Put the reverse thumbtack, held on by a piece of clear cellophane tape so that.
Yeah, there we go.
So, so let's see here. I can actually show you guys a few things on my end. I could show a couple of things. Let's see here. Let me just share.
Foreign or
All
domestic?
Right. It is. This is a. This is going to be domestic.
Ooh.
It's not a car import though. However, but I actually wanted to show this because I never played around. I never tried. I've had this for a couple of years, but I've been meaning to actually clean it up, and I've never used Novus before. I bought it some time ago and I never got a chance to use it. And I said, and this one was in good shape, the plastic. But it was, the typical faded look of plastic, but no heavy scratches. So I said, let me go try Novus 2 and see what happens. And wow, what I am impressed with a nice job that did, because it sort of brought out a rather dull looking chocolate to a much more nice shiny milk chocolate look about this. And this radio,
do it with the Gojo.
Didn't even have to do Gojo with this. This is otherwise clean. I cleaned the unit before even tackling it. It was in pretty solid. It's just dust, So this is
it's got all the right knobs.
Yeah, it's got the nice. Well, it's got the everything is. I cleaned all the knobs. I took everything off, cleaned the whole thing from electronically. It's all set. Even has a nice Telectron clock.
Does it have an outlet in the back to like turn things on and off?
Yeah, sure does, because it has all the controls. In fact, I even took the chance, and I tried the Novus on the clear, and it actually worked pretty well. It's safe enough to use because it was fairly heavily, not heavily, but pretty faded from just just the surface you get on plastic. It sort of gets that dull look. And it did brighten it up pretty satisfactorily. And I didn't get too, I didn't feel like any of the things I had to do was serious enough that warranted going to Novus 3. I'm very happy with the results. In fact, I was amazed how much brown came off. I didn't to spend too much time polishing because I was worried how aggressive I might get. But I mean, look at the top. I mean, it really, other than it's got a little nick, but I'm not too worried about that.
Looks great.
But
that's really,
very happy with the results. You get that nice. Yeah, I'm very happy with it, and of course it works great. The nice thing about these Sturt Warners, it has the the dial lamp is connected to the tuning needle, so it has a nice
Say,
sweep.
is
So you always
it a electroluminescent?
no, not quite so, not quite so cool, my friend. Not quite so cool, but it has, the nice thing is about, it gets about, I would say about a third. So this is 180 degrees. It probably does, about 60 degrees of light when you're tuning. So you always have about 60 degrees of dial light. So
Very
it's like,
nice looking. That's great.
yeah, but a great little radio. And
Never saw one.
yeah,
One of the guys in the New Jersey club that I know picked one of these up in Kutztown this year, and it's the same radio, two-tone green.
yes, I like
And you've seen it, John?
I've seen green and I've seen red. They made 4 colors. I forgot, maybe black is the other one. I forget what it was, but the most of them had white with the other color, whereas brown's the only one they did like an off-white, this creamy
cream
tan.
color is very nice.
Yeah.
I've never used Novus number 3. It's too thick and gritty.
Yeah.
I've always used the 2, and then where I've used 1 is for if you've had to use number 2 pretty heavily for whatever reason, if you go over it again with number 1, it kind of takes up whatever is left over from number 2, and it does wonderful things.
It's funny you mentioned I did exactly that, Bob. I used, after I did especially the top surface, I ran number 1 over it and just took off any of like the streaks or any of the remaining of number 2, and it got a nice clean, like factory, out of the factory.
I've never heard of Novus. What is this Novus?
I could show you. Well, they got it right here.
It's what it is now is primarily used for polishing plastic pieces.
Yeah, exactly. So here's
I've had like seen the transoceanic dials from the front. I don't polish it from the back on a transoceanic dial because they'll take the lettering off.
Yeah.
I just clean it really good. But on the front you can use it, and it's taken light scratches
what about things
cigarette
like,
smoke and all that stuff off of there till it's almost totally crystal clear.
What about things like tail?
Yeah,
absolutely. You could do that.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, you should. I bought the kit. I got 3 as well because I didn't figure, well, if I'm in for the 2, I may as well get the whole kit. But I haven't done the 3 yet because I have nothing that warrants it from the description. But I'll tell you, 2 did a really good job. And I would start with that. Just start like in a corner area. Oh, you can get it like on Amazon. You can get that on Amazon. No sweat.
I've used this stuff for over 20 years. I first got it from Antique Electric Supply, and now there's a million different people. I've even gone to events where I've seen people selling this stuff right out of the back of their car, and I usually buy it there. But it's good stuff. And trust me when I say this, I was almost 30 years in plastics, my career. So it's just a wonderful thing. We've even used Novus on some prototype places, things that we did at one place I worked at. So just for the aesthetic things.
Yeah, no, I'm very happy with the results. I've never tried it before, and I said I'm going to try it with this, and wow, I can really say what a nice difference.
Maybe
and it's easy to use. Yeah, it's very easy to use. It's
where I would not use Novus. I wouldn't use Novus on molded Bakelite.
Yeah,
for that I would use either, if it's brown Bakelite, brown shoe polish. If it's black Bakelite, black shoe polish, and just buff the what out of it, and it'll be stunning. It's going to be a lot of handwork, but when you get it done, it'll be well worth it. But for color, like this is probably styrene or ABS.
Yeah.
This is perfect for Novus stuff. Clear lenses that wherever they were molded in, Novus is fine for that.
Does it leave a coating on it, like a car wax kind of thing, or do you wipe it off totally?
No, you just
that's where you'd want to use the number 1 after the number 2, because if it's leaving any little light residue on the number 1 will just take that.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoever's left right off.
The reason
what you're getting is it's just about as pure of a plastic.
The reason I ask is that there's this anomaly that occurs with not all but some Philco Predictas. The bezel that goes over the picture tube has this
it gets that crap on it.
It grows this weird white film or something that comes right off, but like 6 weeks weeks later, it's back again. And I'm like, if I used Novus on the outside of my Philco Predicta, would I solve the problem?
I've even had some TV guys come up to me and ask me if there was a way you can make, is there a way you can actually make reproduction covers? It's not the picture tube itself, it's the cover that goes around it, the surround.
Right, right.
And I basically laid it out. Look, the biggest expense you're going to have, I believe those weren't injection molded, they were vacuum formed. I'm pretty confident that's the type of plastic molding that was done. And all it is, it's just a sheet, a clear sheet of plastic going into a mold that gets sucked in under heat to make the shape. And the biggest expense is the tooling. And you're not going to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to maybe make a couple hundred of these covers.
Right.
It's just not cost effective.
But,
So
I mean,
have I ever tried it on? No, I have not. But maybe you can try on part of
I have
it.
a dozen Predictas, and 4 of them have no problem whatsoever, and 2 of them have this weird thing that happens, and and they're the same covers, so it must have been like a model year change or something. They changed the formula, and this weird white powdery something starts growing on them.
Curious, but
I mean, I can't tell you what it is. I mean, I can only speculate, and I don't want to give you misinformation.
Maybe I'll try the Novus trick and see.
But you could, I would just try it in
an inconspicuous place, yeah.
a spot first, or if you have a parts one that's doing that, try it on that first.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
yes,
but I will say,
isn't the Novus #1 a spray?
It looks beautiful.
Yeah, it is. Novus #1 is a spray. This I tried because on here you can actually, it took out some of the what I call like sort of the fogging effect a bit.
Well, there's a little bit crazing on that. I could see it
Yeah.
up close,
Yeah, but I didn't want to get too crazy.
Distance.
Yeah, and I was a little bit worried about going too crazy. So I said, this may be a little deeper. And I was like, am I going to do Novus #3 in this area? And I said, I don't think so. But the thing is, you can more easily read all the labels very easily because it was a little harder to see before I did the work. So I could recommend you can even use it on clear. Just be a little bit careful, but it was fine.
It did a good job, because that's what made me ask about the outlet in the back, because I could see clearly through this thing that looked like you could set something up.
Oh yeah,
something would turn on.
absolutely, absolutely. Because it's got the you do the alarm,
and
it's the sleep, and then there's the controlled on and off. It's
right,
and of course a quick word in for Telecron. Thank you very much. But and also I used a little. I wasn't too aggressive. A bit simichrome on the brass thing, just to tidy up a little bit. And I call this a reasonable victory of products. I'm very happy with the results. I can certainly firsthand my first time, and I was pretty careful. I was very happy with the results. Awesome product.
It's just a cool looking radio.
Taking it apart to where you can do each piece individually.
Yeah, I got all these. I took all these knobs off, and I didn't.
That clock on there looks exactly like the clock on a Crosley dashboard.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me if Yeah, absolutely. There's one more thing I'll quickly show, just because it was just a fun purchase I got from a member. Is this? I got from a Radio Shack built-in radio, so you can put it's a transistor solid state little unit with all the parts that you can you can just jam it up your teddy bear.
Put it in the armrest of your chair.
Exactly, here, right here. The teddy bear shouldn't be smiling if it's getting jammed up.
Keep an eye on it. Make sure not too much smoke comes out of the armrest.
Exactly. But, this is a complete kit. So, in fact, here's the inside of when you lift up, there's a hinged, cardboard cover. And here's the schematics for it, all laid out.
6 transistor.
It's a fairly straightforward.
All PNPs.
And luckily just driven off a 9-volt battery and not actually plugged into a wall. So.
Exactly. And here is the original lease with an original battery packaged up.
Oh my God, it's still got the 9-volt battery in wrap.
Exactly.
But in a wrapper from Radio Shack.
Yeah, exactly. And I said, oh, this is too cool not to have. It was just kind of a fun thing. And I have a warm spot for, Radio Shack. So I'm sure I saw this when I used to go in as a kid or something and see it there, and couldn't think of reason at the time why I would want it. But Yep, there's the nice battery. 49 cents, all in its original plastic wrap. Never seen the light of day in terms of outside the
49
package.
cents.
So I thought it was a fun thing. I said, and oh, last but not least, even the instructions how to, the back of the box just tells you how to put it together.
You
But it was
like,
just,
you could build that into your toilet paper holder in the bathroom.
that's right. Plenty of opportunity. But any rate, that's
really cool, John. That is cool.
It is. That's nice.
That's fun. It's just like, I couldn't resist having
again,
that.
it's one of those, how many did they make and how many did they sell?
And how many do you
are
find
still out
complete?
there?
Exactly. How many are complete and never been actually assembled? So I've got an unassembled kit with an original battery. So, it was a fun little purchase. It'll always just stay in the box. I probably will never do anything about it, but at any rate, that was all I have. And look at that, we ran just a few minutes over. Do appreciate you guys hanging in there. But I guess we got everybody in. So
Good seeing everybody, and I hope
hope
to see everybody at the Brookline show.
I missed the free table. I miss being able to go there and see everybody in person, but I'm really thankful for these Zooms.
Oh yeah, no, we'd love to.
Second that.
We got to get you guys out here. You got to make a trip out here some way somehow. But we just one very last thing is sort of the dovetails to Howard's earlier announcement about is if anyone has a unit to donate for the club for the March show, Ralph will be in table number 31 is where you can deposit a radio, hopefully something working that could be gone for the silent auction. I will have a Westinghouse to bring, an AM/FM Westinghouse that's all been done over a while ago. So actually by Alan Finger. So I'll be bringing that to donate to the club but so if anyone has anything about to drop off, please do. And with that, boys,
John, can I interject?
Yeah. Oh, of course.
Real quick, guys, don't forget this. Here, where did I put it? Here, let me get up on the screen. This is the Roaring 20s radio. So don't forget that you get some idle time or you get some salvage time. Go check that page out. It's really great.
Awesome. Thanks for the heads up there, Bob. But at any rate, I guess I'll let you guys go. I guess next meeting probably we'll have a chance to talk a lot about Kutztown and Brookline. So there should be lots of photos and show and tells of people what they came back with. And so in the interim, you guys, remote guys, have a great 2 weeks off. And enjoy the fall weather. And you guys who are going to be local and coming to the show, looking forward to seeing you. And we'll see you all hopefully reconvene into October 9th. So thanks very much.
Thanks, Jonathan.
All right. Thank you much.
Good night, guys. I can't make it, but have fun.
Because you put a frame over the microphone.